All right, so in this video, we're, as promised, going to be going through and doing some more practice problems using dimensional analysis. So what I want you to do actually is go through these problems yourself and then double check with me afterwards. So pause the video, try to answer this question, calculate the number of weeks in 840 hours. And then when you feel like you have an answer, come back and let's see if our answers agree. So once again, I hope you did that. You paused the video and you went through it. And now let's go through it together. So calculate the number of weeks in 840 hours. Well, our first step is to write down what's given, okay? So 840 hours, okay? So that's step one, if you remembered in our last video. So step two, we want to write down the unit of the wanted quantity, which is weeks. All right? And the per expression, well, there's not really one per expression between hours and weeks. I'm sure there is if you looked up online, but I don't know it off the top of my head. But I do know that for every 1 day, there's 24 hours. Okay. And I do know for every 1 week, there's 7 days. So in other words, I'm trying to break this down into more manageable chunks, if you will, the problem. So let's write down our path then we'll put it in our calculators after that, or shortly after that, after we write down the algebra, and we'll go from there. Okay, so 840 hours going to days, right? I can convert hours to days, and then I can convert days to weeks. All right? So let's write this out here on the bottom. I'm running out of room, but I'm just writing it step for step so you could follow along. So this is going to be 840 hours times, okay, for every 1 day, 24 hours. And I hope you guys did all of this on your own. And this is just kind of me going over the same thing you went over. For every 1 week, there's 7 days equals, okay? And notice, again, that hours cancels out with hours. Days, the unit of days, cancels out with days, right? So this is a sign that we did it correctly. We're not going to end up with a weird unit like a week squared day or anything. We're left with only weeks. Okay, so we know we at least set up the problem right. Now it's a question of just putting in our calculator right. And when I did that, I got 5 weeks. Okay, so let me just double check that. It's been a little while since I double checked these problems. 840 divided by 24 divided by 7. Yep, 5 weeks. So there's 840 hours in 5 weeks. All right, so again, I hope you did that on your own and you got the same answer as me. Let's do another problem. So again, pause the video, go through this problem, answer what is the distance expressed in miles, or excuse me, what distance expressed in miles will an automobile travel in 5 hours at an average speed of 25 miles, or 65, excuse me, miles per hour. Okay, so pause the video, see if you can answer it, then we'll go through it together. All right, well, what are we given? So this problem is set up a little bit differently here. We're given 5 hours, okay? We want, okay, speed, right? We want, excuse me, what distance? We don't want speed, I'm sorry. It's getting late here. So we want distance, okay? So we want distance expressed in miles. Sorry, so that's the unit we want in miles. Whew, all right. So what's our per expression here? Well, it's here, 65 miles per hour. So let's write that down, 65 miles per 1 hour. Okay. So our path is we want to go from 5.00 hours to miles. And we're going to do that using our conversion factor. So if we put this in an algebraic form, right, 65 miles, 1 hour. Notice again, hours cancel with each other. We're left with only the unit of miles. And when I did this, I got 325 miles. So I'm just going to check that one more time in my calculator just to make sure. So 5 times 65, 325 miles. Okay, so that's another example. One final problem. How many inches are in 1 mile? All right, so again, pause the video, and when you're done with the problem, hit play, and we'll go through it together, okay? All right, so what is our given quantity? Well, 1 mile, okay? 1 mile. All right, and I try to word these all a little bit different. Maybe I did a bad job of that, but try to word it different so you can get different examples of going through these problems. Wanted, we want inches. Okay? Our per expression, well, this one might have been a little bit tricky, but I know that I can convert miles to feet. All right, so there's 5,280 feet, 1 mile. And again, you could have looked this up, or in your textbook, there might be some helpful conversion factors later on in the semester that will help us. But these are things that are just, you can look up, okay? It won't be anything that's really ridiculous that you can't find throughout the semester. And I know that there's 12 inches, 1 foot, okay? Or FT, we'll just say that. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I wanna go from 1 mile. I wanna convert miles to feet, and then I wanna convert feet to inches. And notice what I've been doing in a lot of these problems is I'm taking these bigger quantities like a mile, and I'm trying to just break it down smaller and smaller into manageable chunks that I know the conversions between. I'm not gonna try to convert between miles and inches right away because I just don't know the conversion for that. So it's gonna be difficult for me to do. So let's write this down. Again, this is our last example, 1 mile times 1 mile on the bottom, 5,280 feet times 12 inches, 1 foot equals. Okay, so I actually don't have this number written down for whatever reason, and my 1 times 5,280 times 12 is 63,360 is the number I'm getting here. So let's do that, 5,280 times 12. Yep. And for practice, just for practice, why don't you convert that into exponential notation based on our last video? Okay. So when I do that, if you pause the video now and convert it, and then I'll just do it very quickly, it's going to be 6.3360 times 10 to the 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is in unit of inches. Don't forget the units at the end. All right. So I believe that's it for dimensional analysis. We're going to go on to metric units in the next video.